Hello there. So I've written something that I'm calling the Freelance Translators Manifesto, and I wrote it, admittedly, after some wine, but it's up on Medium, on the Medium website. I'll link to it down below. The article is up there, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it as well. I'm going to read the first part of it to you here, and then obviously I give you the link. You can read the whole thing if you want, but let me get into it right now. The Freelance Translation Manifesto. Wait, I need to get it. There we go. Okay, so I live in the United States, and I've noticed an interesting phenomenon. Picture this. Two people will be applying for one job. While their expertise and experience may be pretty much equivalent, one of them may speak English with an accent because he or she comes from another country, while the other speaks with no accent, being from the United States. Usually, with the other skills being equal, the job will go to the person without the accent. Now think about it. The accented person who's applying for that job will not only bring the same skills as the local hire, but will also have a completely different point of view to draw examples from. Speaking a different language gives them access to a different mindset in addition to the local one. In this case, speaking with an accent should be an advantage, but it's rarely the case. Now, do you remember when Mark Zuckerberg spoke to a crowd at the Tsinghua X Lab session in Beijing back in 2014? It was when he was speaking Chinese. News outlets were stunned because he was speaking quote-unquote fluent Chinese. The fact is, while not trying to diminish speaking Chinese in public as a second language, Zuckerberg's Chinese was nowhere near fluent, and yet he received nothing but praise. In the meantime, the foreigner who's applying for the job in the US might have been fluent, but just speaking with an accent. So why are some people praised for speaking two languages, even if one is very limited, while others are penalized for speaking two languages perfectly and just retaining a bit of an accent in the second one? The main reason I'm mentioning this is because I've seen it in action myself, and I've been the beneficiary, in fact, of this double standard. For example, in Taiwan, a businessman once asked me if I spoke Chinese, to which I replied, a little bit, 一点点. I literally spoke those three words, and his comment was that my Chinese was so good, and he started introducing me to other people as someone who spoke Chinese. I doubt this would ever happen with someone traveling or immigrating to an English-speaking country, just by saying three words in English. So what point am I making? Basically what I'm getting at here is that there's a dichotomy, with one side taking advantage of the fact that they speak another language, while half, or majority even, of bilingual people feeling almost like their extra language is a disadvantage that they should be able to shed rather than an advantage to be used to maximum effect. If you speak more than one language, that's the equivalent of having an extra degree. Despite what people might think or say, the main issue is being able to use that knowledge. And that's where freelance translation comes in. And then the rest of the article, I'm going to stop right there. If you're interested in reading the rest of the article, I'll link to it down below. But yeah, I feel like it isn't talked about enough, this fact that freelance translation is actually extremely useful and extremely helpful for a lot of people. A lot of people I've seen who speak different languages almost try to hide the fact that they speak different languages. Here in the States, they try to hide the fact that they speak languages other than English. But I've seen it in other places as well, in Italy as well. I've seen people who've immigrated there and try to hide the fact that they can speak different languages other than Italian. And this amazes me. And it also amazes me because then I turn around and see other people, like say Mark Zuckerberg, who is speaking Chinese, not fluently, and gets nothing but praise from people. Let's face it, Mark Zuckerberg's never going to be a translator. I wouldn't worry too much about him. I hear he's doing fine. But it's other people who are near fluent very often are just embarrassed about their second language. Anyway, it just struck me, this fact, and so that's why I typed this thing up, because I feel like it's something important, and that freelance translation can actually be a way out for many people who feel trapped. You know, many immigrants, let's say, and many people who speak a second language but aren't using it at all, and in fact are trying to hide the fact that they speak it, and I think it can really be a help. And very often, many of the people who are marginalized in society, many of the immigrants, people who find it hard to find a job, they do speak another language, and so freelance translation can really be a step forward and a step toward progress for them. So anyway, Feel free to read it. Feel free to let me know what you think. And feel free to let me know your thoughts about it, because I haven't really discussed this with anyone else before. And I do think it's an important facet. It's an important fact. And I think it's something that should be discussed a bit more. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I will talk to you probably with more technical, actionable stuff in the near future in the next video. Okay, thanks. Bye. Savedum.